No problem.
Broke
Yeah.
my fuck you finger. It's been one of those months. You ever have one of those months where you just like all these nagging little injuries? You know, not
yeah.
the major, not just the things that make your life annoying because you're like.
I've gotten to the point where I have to be careful when I'm like shampooing that I don't do it too hard, or I'll tweak my neck. You know, I wrestled like 20 years ago at this point.
Oh, really?
All throughout middle school, high school, a little bit in college.
Just because you like guys?
Just because I like guys, yeah. Apparently it's a sport too.
No.
and like, man, it seemed fine at the time, but does it wreak havoc on your body after that?
Man, when I was in high school, I remember we had to do wrestling. It was like there was like winter sports and like and that was one of the winter ones, you know, like 1 week basketball, next week wrestling. And God, did I dread those weeks. I mean, I know it's a sport, and I was kidding about the guy thing, although the Greeks would have something to say about that. But like the idea of like getting on the ground with another sweaty man and just wrestling with him. I mean, that's what it's wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it was like a gym class activity, it would have been a lot less fulfilling. You know, I was lucky enough to be on some pretty good teams in school, and so we traveled across the country, and so it was great. And you learn a lot of discipline, and like, you know, it's the hardest sport in the world. Sitting there eating lettuce for like 10 months out of the year so that you can keep your weight down.
Yeah. That and taking X-Lax.
Yeah,
I remember the wrestlers in the kids would take X-Lax to make weight.
We would have guys that would hold bottles and just spit in bottles all day because you like might get 1/10 or 2/10 of a pound of like water weight after the full day, or you'd go and run, put a garbage bag on you.
I'm surprised they didn't give blood.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it got like.
I gave blood the other day. Probably a pint of blood probably weighs.
Hey, any way to like get down in weight. Granted, you generally want to keep as much blood as you could because you're going to be on the mat 10 minutes later. But you know.
Wow, but it just seemed boring. Besides being gross and sweaty and another man, it just seemed boring because, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but there was like 4 moves, like a sit out and a this and a that, and like. You knew they were either you got to do it to them or they do it to you, and it's just grunting, and it was like taking a shit with another person. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're like deep in it and it's your sport, then it becomes just like anything else, right? But
you didn't keep up with it.
No,
you're not wrestling guys now.
There's not a whole lot of like post-college opportunities for wrestling.
Good to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, right. It's not something. It's not like pickleball. Like
no.
you could just say to them, "Hey guys, why don't we get on the mat with each other this week?"
Yeah. So, you know, bailed on that and actually moved out here to work in the entertainment industry.
Oh, after wrestling.
Well, yeah, after college.
Right.
of which wrestling was a very small part.
Right. Well, if you want to be on the floor with guys, there's a couple of directors I could recommend hanging out with where I'm pretty sure that would happen.
Smooth transition right from wrestling to West Hollywood living.
to Bryan Singer's parties. Yeah. Did I have that name right?
No, you got it right. That's it.
Is that the guy? Yep. I mean,
his reputation precedes him. Say again?
They're not going to sue it. I mean, that was in the paper.
No, I don't think you can sue over the fact that Bryan Singer had parties, and those were the kind of parties.
It did seem like there was. Now, look, I also think it's as politically incorrect as it is to say it. And it doesn't excuse, really bad behavior, but to pretend that the gay world and the straight world are the same is naive. They're not. They're just not. Yeah,
I mean, look, my best friend is gay. I officiated his wedding with his husband, and yeah, that's now I've got my cred. I've established myself as an ally.
I did too, by the way. I also was at a gay wedding.
You know, it's interesting because in the entertainment industry, I think there's so much focus on there has been so much of a focus for so long on exploiting the differences, and now I think there's a major focus on like, okay, you can have a gay couple, but that's not going to be like, you can still have a gay couple in the same storyline that you would have for a straight couple, and that's a new thing in TV and film now, because usually the whole, like, the fact that those characters were gay would be the whole storyline, as opposed to now it's just like they're gay, but that's not relevant to the story.
That's the kind of progress we make that I'm always complaining the left doesn't acknowledge. They don't want to acknowledge progress because it somehow makes you purer and a better person if you constantly insist that things are worse than ever.
No,
and they're not. They're better than ever, and things like that prove it.
Yeah, I think there's not a whole lot of incentive to continue fighting for progress if you don't get a few moments to celebrate the wins that you've already notched. You know what I mean?
Big ones.
Yeah,
but you know, I mean, I've been around longer than you have, and trust me, the country is somewhat unrecognizable from the one, certainly the one I grew up in.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in New Jersey.
Me too.
All white town. You know, that was just the way it was.
Where in Jersey?
Bergen County.
Okay.
You know, and of course, this is where the liberals live.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's where the liberals were in the 60s. You know, it was wrong, and that's where we were. And it's just, I mean, it's just, you couldn't even, like, imagine a show like Friends now.
Yeah.
If you pitched a show, okay, there's 6 white, stop, come in again and pitch this again. What'd you say? There's an Asian man in a wheelchair, good, I'm there. Of course, they always go too far, so there's just too much box checking before they even write the script. They have to check the boxes.
Well, did you see The Studio?
Yes.
Yeah, where they kind of made fun of that one episode where they were trying to figure out who should I think the movie was about Kool-Aid, right? It was the Kool-Aid movie. And so you don't want too many, well, if there's no black representation in the Kool-Aid movie, and then there's too much representation, and then you have a Kool-Aid movie where it's only black people.
The way, that was a genius episode. I'm remembering it now.
Yeah.
Because they worked their way to a place that was completely opposite of where they were intending to go, which was I don't know if Seth Rogen, I'm sure he does, my thought of him, I may be wrong, is that he's super woke, but that was not a super woke thing to do. That was a sly, brilliant sort of commentary on when that shit goes too far.
Yeah.
That they worked themselves all the way back to, what was it? That now it's everybody's black, and so it looks...
So now you have a Kool-Aid movie with an entirely black cast, and it's like, who are the executives that greenlit the Kool-Aid movie?
The way
with
they
only
got
black
there
people?
with certain steps along the way. Like, first it was just going to be, like,
I think it was like Ice Cube.
The sidekick was black.
Yeah.
So then, oh no, that's not good, because what are you saying? That blacks have to just be sidekicks?
Can't be the leading man.
Right, and then so they just kept working like they're caught in their own head.
Yeah, and just spiraling. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see, like, you know, the entertainment industry, when I first moved out here, which was, 15 years ago at this point, it was a totally different industry.
No Jews?
There were no Jews. Yeah. If Hollywood needed one thing, it was like, where are all the Jews around here?
When are we going to be able to break in, the Jews?
It was funny because, like, you know, obviously I experienced all of, like, you know, filtering and figuring out which roles I can audition for, and I was a new actor, so it's like, what smaller roles are going to... back then, there were still a lot of... pretty much all of the leading cast members were white, and so they would fill the minorities with the co-stars and guest star roles. And so if you're a young white kid who wanted to move out here, you're probably not going to get those roles. So it's tough to break in, you know, because they still wanted Brad Pitt to be the leading man and George Clooney and all that stuff. Now the whole industry is definitely changed. But I mean, I haven't been in the industry in 10 years.
Very often works in reverse, and I'm not even complaining about that. You know, I mean, turnabout's fair play. For the longest time, it didn't work the other way.
Yeah.
Now, as always with racial matters.
I mean, I have a really good friend who is Indian, like a dear friend of mine who's Indian, and the roles that he would get were like all the terrorists in the post 9/11 movie. And
Right.
that's all he could book. And he's a brilliant guy, and he's a great actor, and it would just be like just the terrorists in those movies. And so there's a, you know, a great silver lining.
But that's not now.
No, it's not.
My
and that's what I was
motto
going to say.
was
Like,
always,
there's a great silver lining where, like,
let's
now...
live in the year we're living in.
Yeah. Like now you get to see that talent that was relegated to like, you know, the terrorists, terrorist 1, terrorist 2 on the plane.
Right.
So, you know, there's a...
But that is something that, again, is infuriating about the far left, I would say. Call them whatever they wanted. Not the woke, the stupid woke. Like Whoopi Goldberg, love her. But when she said a couple of weeks ago that being black was like the same as being a woman in Iran, it's like, yeah, in 1920, but not today.
Yeah.
By the way, I was just watching this series. I guess it's a couple of years old, Tehran. Have you seen it? It's on Apple.
No.
It'd be a good way to get a little education on the subject.
You know, it's interesting. Like I mean, look, we're in Los Angeles. There's a military force deployed in this city, and granted, you know,
not on the same level at all.
Not on the same level, of course.
Not
but
wrong. I agree.
But like, you know, I mean, I've seen him. I've seen him in this city, and it's weird. Yeah. It's weird to like see. I mean, first of all, to see any type of police force in Los Angeles is bad enough.
Well,
but like,
I mean, it's just a bad idea to get the people used to seeing tanks and military vehicles on the street. That is one thing that's always made this country great, is that no tanks on the street.
Yeah.
As bad as it got, no tanks. We don't want to see the tanks. That's not for Main Street.
Yeah.
You know, and now, you know, it's just, you know, one of the many things I said when Trump got elected. I said, I'm not going to pre-hate anything, but, you know, I keep a list of what I hate and what I don't hate. And there's some things on the don't hate list, although the execution is never the right. But, you know, ideas like, you know, should Europe pay for their defense? Yeah, not wrong. Should the border be organized instead of just open? Of course, certain things. But on the hate list, which is still quite an extensive list, you know, that's just one of the big ones. Like, I do not want military parades. I do not want the army playing cops. You know, it's just a bad, like.
I mean, even on the don't hate list, when you have okay, having Europe pay their fair share. It's like, this would be a good opportunity to celebrate some wins, but he's so ham-handed with the way that he does all of his international affairs that, like, you get into office and the first thing you do is start threatening to annex or invade Canada and Greenland and Panama, and it's like, and then you think that you created some charm offensive where you have 90 countries in 90 days, and that amounts to like Vietnam. You've inked a trade deal with Vietnam and can't figure out why nobody else is running to the negotiating table.
But have you noticed that the Greenland thing, this kind of just got forgotten?
Yeah.
You know, and Canada, it was like, he's a different kind of cat. I mean, I got to tell you, he just is a different kind of cat, and he's not going anywhere for at least another 3.5 years. And the other party has no power. You know, just to go Gretchen Whitmer and pretend they can't see you there, not the right strategy. And, you know, as far as like the don't hate lists, like one of my big ones was always, or the hate list was, you know, standing there with Putin and taking his side.
Yeah.
My point about like he's not going anywhere for 3.5 years, the unpredictability factor, you're just going to have to accept that and make the best of it, as opposed to just writing the millionth editorial about, you know, I'm just so not interested in this, I hate Trump more than you do contest. It's not productive, it's not helping, it's not getting anywhere, it's not doing anything for the country. I'm for like, you know, actually making this country work better. And that does not include just ignoring.
Yeah, I think I think in large part, once we recognize the extent to which so much of what he does is a deliberate strategy, exactly to your point, I mean, is he going to annex Greenland?
Is or isn't? It
is a deliberate strategy to distract you from. I mean, Steve Bannon's whole shtick is that he's flooding the zone with shit, right? And so once you can figure out, okay, what is there to distract you, so that you're not talking about the main thing versus what is the main thing.
I disagree with that, because I think you're giving him in a way too much credit. I don't think there's that kind of thought that goes into it. I think he's just a cat who, like, you know, he lives on his phone like teenagers. Like, I've seen it. You
And
know,
just errant synapses fire, and he just does.
just like
acts.
he's an idea guy. Like, he's a people person. He talks to a lot of people. That's not the worst thing in the world. It would be the worst thing if it was only the ass kissers, and it's probably mostly them. But I think he just likes a wide array. You know, it's a lot of not what I read, it's a lot of what I heard and people are saying.
Yeah.
And he just, you know, he's an idea guy. Like, let's take Greenland, let's reopen Alcatraz. Let's open Alcatraz on Greenland.
Right.
You know, talk about ideas.
I mean, maybe, okay, so maybe it's not maybe these things are not deliberate, but I think it still lends itself to this idea.
It does.
It's
not that Steve Bannon made him into a guy who floods the
he
wrong shit.
He knows how to
Steve
exploit.
Bannon found a guy who naturally floods the zone. That's how it happened.
And so I think the onus, I mean, look, for folks like me who are on the left, the onus then becomes, how can we most effectively filter through that stuff and keep our eye on the main things? And that becomes difficult at times when there's 10 different things going on at once.
Be honest. Don't just be partisan. Just don't be, I mean, you do what you want. You're very successful. It's not my way exactly. I mean, I will always call it as I see it, no matter what it is, and I don't care who likes it or doesn't. That's my bond with the audience. It's worked for me pretty well. But it is, you know, in a way harder to do. But just to take an example, tariffs. Now, I remember along with probably most people, were saying at the beginning, oh, you know, by the 4th of July, somebody had a thing how the the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me, but that didn't happen. Now, it could happen tomorrow. I'm just saying that's reality. So let's work first from the reality of that, not from I just hate Donald Trump. Because that's boring and doesn't get us anywhere and leads you to dishonesty. Because the truth is, I don't know what his strategy is. But look, the stock market is at record highs. I know not everybody lives by the stock market, but I also drive around. I don't see a country in a depression at all. I see people out there just living their lives. And I would have thought, and I got to own it, that these tariffs were going to fucking sink this economy by this time, and they didn't. So, you know, how do we deal with that fact? Because that's the fact.
Yeah, I think first is, and I've learned this the hard way, not to make predictions about what's going to happen, because it's really fucking difficult to predict anything. And if I was good at predicting things, Hillary would have been the president in 2016, and I wouldn't have sold my Netflix stock back in 2010. But here we are. I think the way that that's kind of exposing itself right now is with the Epstein stuff. I mean, you had all these Republicans that were clamoring because they thought that Trump
I'm on vacation a little bit, so I just heard the little bits of this. So fill me in what's going on with Epstein.
So
he's really alive, like Elvis.
he's alive, sitting in a cell. No, so Epstein, they had promised all of these Trump administration officials, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, all had promised to release these Epstein files. And when they got in,
I remember that.
When they got in, they would finally uncover these files that would be hidden by the deep state and these communist Marxist Democrats, and they would expose this whole list. So these guys come in. I mean, you've got, like, literally, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino made their entire careers in talking about this stuff over and over and over again. They get, you know, put into the top spots in the FBI and Pam Bondi at the DOJ, and suddenly it's time for them to put up or shut up. And Pam Bondi and the DOJ released a report saying that there's no Epstein client list. So apparently nobody was benefiting from all of the depraved things that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were doing. And man, did that piss the fuck off the entire audience that followed Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Alina Habba, and Donald Trump, all of whom thought that they were going to hold true to their word to actually get some accountability for, like, these depraved crimes. And like, of course they're not going to release this stuff because, first of all, you've got Trump himself, who's been in God knows how many photos with the guy. Epstein called Donald Trump his closest friend for 10 years. That was like Epstein's direct quote. And so, of course, these files were never going to get released, and they didn't. But now you have a whole sense of. Wait. We are assuming that if I'm, you know, 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 if I'm, you know,
if I'm Epstein, who was, I said this on my show recently, if there's a guy who's like really rich and you're not quite sure how he got that rich, he doesn't seem to have any talents, he's a pimp. He's a pimp.
Okay.
There are guys like that.
Who are you referring to?
Epstein.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
he's a pimp.
A pimp
Okay,
for kids.
Dude,
yeah.
I've known guys like this.
Yeah.
Pussy whisperers. That's what a pimp is, a pussy whisperer. Someone who can they just have this, I don't know what it is. I don't have it. I'm glad I don't have it. But they have an ability to talk women into anything. Like, even when it's not, the woman doesn't benefit that much. It's just an amazing skill that some guys have. That's who he was. He was a pimp. We are assuming that this pimp kept a physical record. And I'm not, no, maybe I missed this.
Who knows?
So they don't know.
I mean, we don't know any information. It's a black hole.
Right.
Because they keep refusing to release anything.
Okay,
so we
but
actually
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying, if my business, as it was Mr. Epstein's business, was being a pimp, that's what he was. He was great at that. I've got girls. You say that to a nerd like Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got girls. Alan Dershowitz, you're an ugly-looking motherfucker. Would you like to be friends with me? I know a lot of girls.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I think there's no doubt about why it worked for a lot of these.
No, but what I'm saying
people.
is, if I'm that guy, do I need to keep a physical record? I know Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and Donald Trump want to come on the plane.
Yeah.
It would be like me keeping a list of just my friends. You know, like, I know who my friends are. Like,
right.
I don't
You don't
really,
necessarily need to be like, sign here on the dotted line.
Yeah, like, oh, who do I want to have dinner with? Let me check the files.
I think
Sheila, you keep records on who I like, don't you? And
I think the broader issue, though, is that all of these people were so steeped in this idea that if they could just get into a position of power, then they would be able to finally do something and expose it. And it was so anticlimactic and so similar to everything else that's been said from the left that like I think that it's really disillusioning for a lot of these folks on the right who kind of viewed the left as the impediment to getting that justice. And now you're seeing the exact same talking points being trotted out on the right.
Oh.
And like, you know, there's a lot of things that Trump has done, to your exact point, that fall into the category of, okay, this is going to piss some people off. But it usually feels like it has very little staying power. Trump bombs Iran, and like even you have a few people that came out and said, okay, this guy promised to be the pro-peace president. But like for a lot of people, are they gonna like change, switch sides, abandon the guy?
It.
But like this feels,
loved it.
This here as it relates to Epstein.
That was a home run for me and for him. And I'm a guy who was always saying we should, at least when they had the deal, we should try to see if the Obama plan, the peace deal that Obama made, can work. I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but once had a long conversation with Netanyahu, who was wanting to talk me into, and may I say right now, all these years later, one, maybe I was wrong. I thought it was worth a try to bring
the JCPOA.
Yes. Ooh, that's a
the Iran nuclear deal.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm all for someone. I thought it was worth a try to bring the Iranian people, who are not an unsophisticated people, into the family of nations again, as they used to be, peaceably. And also, the reports were that they were like 15 years away from the bomb.
Yeah.
And now maybe, but again, here we are in a different place. Maybe I was wrong, and Netanyahu was right. He probably knows a lot more than me. Like, his contention was that I don't care what it says on the piece of paper or what the inspectors are telling you. They're cheating. They're always going to cheat. They're trying to get a bomb. They make no secret and never have about wanting to wipe us off the face of the earth. Okay, so we have to just take them out. And I didn't think that. But once Trump scuttled it in the first term, fait accompli. Now we're into a different era. So maybe I was wrong. Doesn't matter, because once we got to this place where they really were getting close, I mean, there was a report a little before he dropped the bomb, the first one from the inspectors, the UN inspectors, who said, oh no, that we don't know, and they're cheating. So it was almost something that had to be done. And, you know, look, Iran, I'm sorry, has been asking for it for the longest time. They have been sponsoring every bad news group in the Middle East who is anti-Western civilization, places where you couldn't survive a day.
Yeah.
So please don't defend them.
No, I mean, look.
No, I'm not saying you would, but
I'm not defending Iran. I was like, I swear. I was like, what the hell did I say?
You and your
what did I say
Queers for Palestine T-shirt.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
Like, look, what I hope happens in Iran is I think what everybody across the political spectrum hopes happens in Iran, which is that there's some. I hope that folks in that country rise up, and there's some, you know, some. It can't happen at the hands of the U.S. I hope that they rise up and we see something, you know, circa pre-revolution.
Here's the key thing about that: rising up is so much harder than it ever used to be because of technology.
Yeah.
When we rose up against the British, they didn't have drones.
Yeah.
They didn't have cameras. You could hide. I mean, this, even up into the Soviet era, this was the case. Now, for you to rise up and somehow evade the authorities who are looking to catch dissidents, almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to, you know, well, I don't really know any recent examples to point to where it happened, proving your point.
Well, the original revolution, not the original, but the Khomeini revolution, they called that, you know what they call it? The cassette revolution.
Yeah.
We're
like six technologies past that by now.
They smuggled in the dissidents' point of view on cassettes, and they played them on their fucking boom boxes.
Yeah.
That's how, and that was only 1978. That's where the technology was.
The irony is that, like, now if you want that type of information to make it feel like you have, like you're a part of a community and that you have more people there to rise up with you. The hard part is that, yeah, it's easier to get that information, but it's that much harder for the reasons that you just mentioned to actually effectuate it.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I saw Bibi was with Trump the other day, and they were talking about transforming the whole Middle East. And again, I know Trump, look, I put up my 56 insult.
I was reading that.
You know, I got him to sign that. This is my favorite possession.
Yeah.
56 horrible things he said about me, obviously, which were in, I obviously had said something about him that, so like, no one needs to lecture me about Donald Trump, but, and well before I did the horrible dinner, which changed the world completely.
I'm curious about that, about the dinner. Do you regret any part of it? Do you regret doing it? Do you regret the
why would
before or after? I'm just curious, like, the way that all of it played out. How do you think about it? Do you think about it
the
as
people who hated me from before the dinner, the 10% who live on blue sky, just found another thing to hate me for. But their hatred looks ever stupider as time goes by, because their big fear was that, oh my God, I was going to be seduced. And of course, I went right back to tearing him a new asshole every week. If you don't watch my show, that's fine. You don't have to. I don't hate anybody or dislike anybody who doesn't watch it. But then you can't comment, because if you have been watching it, you see that I didn't change one bit. So there was no argument there except your emotions, except, he went to see The Bad Man. Like, yes, I'm thrilled. First of all, you're invited to the White House for a private dinner with the president. Really? You don't go? Well, then you're a fucking idiot, in my view, no matter who the president is. Two, he has all the power. So, like, maybe you should talk to him. And then, part two, like, okay, I had to make a report on it once people knew I went. Should I lie? No, that was not an option, never has been for me. That's my bond with my audience. So I told him the truth that, yeah, that guy who lives there is different than the one you see on TV. And I kept saying over and over in the piece, like, I'm just reporting. You make your decisions. You do what you do. I'm just saying I went down into the mine, and I'm telling you what's down there that you don't know. Or maybe you do, but like, to just be like, oh no, how it's just emotional.
No, look, if I had the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to talk to Trump, I'd be happy to. I tried to interview Republican officials, and the farthest right Republican that I've ever gotten on was like Adam Kinzinger, to give you an idea. And you don't really have to in this media environment because it's so bifurcated. And so you have all of these right-wing outlets. You've spoken to, people have come here and you've spoken to them. There's no need for people on opposite ends of the political spectrum to go on opposing viewpoint shows anymore because there's so many, why deal with tough questions when you can just get pats on the head?
But that's what my show is every week.
Right.
My real tough show is like.
But in this new media environment, there's very few shows that do that. I reach out to Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Their offices will never respond. Yeah.
Well, you gotta reach out again. You know what? I'll call them all for you if you want. I will tell them to go on your show, and they will do it. Because that's one thing that is very different from the left and the right. That surprises me because usually the right-wingers will go anywhere. I just had that guy on, I loved him, Wesley Hunt, congressman, African-American congressman from Texas, Trump's biggest supporter.
Yeah.
But it's so sincere.
Well, that's a
with Paul Begala. Okay, that's America. And by the way, loved it that they bonded. That's what we got to do.
I mean, look, I do debates. Fox LA anchor Alex Michelson, who I think
I love him.
He hosts debates between me and Tommy Lahren. I think we've been on like 5 times together already.
Oh Jesus, that's like Muhammad Ali fighting a 7-year-old blind girl. Why don't you fight somebody your own size? Tommy? I mean, Jesus.
I was on with on Piers Morgan's show today, actually, and went on with Ted Cruz's co-host Ben Ferguson. So, look, anytime I have the opportunity to talk to folks on the other side, but I can also see at the same time why people on the other side of the aisle would say, like, why engage in this when it can just be easier and not, And in this digital media environment, you really don't have to.
First of all, they should be giving me a fucking medal. All this talk about how Trump's only surrounded by ass kissers. Okay, but then when you have someone who is decidedly not MAGA, go there and speak to his face things he may never hear. I mean, I said things to hear. They should be carrying me off on their shoulders for saying to him in private, yes. Yeah. But I mean, he did. I reported it. He didn't object to it, and he didn't object at the time.
Well, so
things like, why are you scaring people? You're scaring people. Why do you want to do that to your citizens? What you did with Obama's birth certificate was low. 2020 election, you didn't win that. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to change the world. I'm saying like your shot doing nothing, not engaging, has 0 chance.
Yeah.
Mine, this guy, I'm telling you, I know this cat a lot better than I did before. He's a people person. He talks to people. You have to keep the lines open. The stupidest thing the left does, and this dinner is a perfect example of it, is having this attitude toward the right that we won't even break bread with you. Yeah. We are so far above you that we won't even sit down at the same table with you.
Look,
that is their attitude, and that makes me sick too. I'm glad I break bread, and by that what makes them hate the left so much. They think that they're deplorables. We're deplorables, and you won't even sit down to dinner with us. Well, good luck. See how far that gets you.
Well, I mean, right now, look, we're in a position where Democrats lost the popular vote. They lost the electoral vote, and so we no longer have the luxury of excommunicating people from the party who are problematic. And so that I think that's
not talking to the other party.
Well, the
who
hard
has
part
all
is
the power.
Anybody who has any semblance of an ego, myself included, wants to see, like you see Trump engage in all this bullshit, the Epstein thing, for example, whatever it may be, the pro-peace, and then he bombs Iran, says going to release the Epstein files, doesn't do it. And you have folks on the left who say, who want to be like, you fucking idiot, I told you so. Like, how did you not see this was going to come, that this was going to happen? How did you not see that when he said he's going to lower costs for people, that he doesn't give a shit about people? He's promised cheaper healthcare before he never delivered it, promised infrastructure before he never delivered it, promised a jobs boom and manufacturing renaissance. This guy always plays the same populist shtick and he never delivers. And so how do you not get it? But I think the way that I have to check myself often now, because the goal is persuasion, right? Like if you work in politics, the only way you win, the only way you exercise power is if you actually get in office so that you can enact your agenda. That's it. Otherwise, you're just chirping at people on Twitter. And like, while that may be fun, not that fun if you're watching the other side enact their agenda and you have ICE agents on the street.
You're
so
right.
I had to check myself often, and instead of those moments where I want to say like, you fucking idiot, how did you not know this was going to happen? To say, like, we're here with open arms, and if you want lower prices, that's something that we can offer. If you want want somebody who's going to expand your access to healthcare, that's something that we can do. If you think that workers should have dignity, if you think that unions should be stronger, if you see the effects of climate change and think that maybe we shouldn't be digging for more fossil fuels when you have insurance companies that are no longer offering insurance in Florida or California, then like there's room in the coalition, and I think that has to be my North Star. And again, I have to check myself often because it's not easy.
You're doing the right thing. That checking yourself often is exactly how you do it. But to make this full circle to your question originally, like that thing right there reminds me, see, I have standing to talk to the Republicans because like one reason I'm bored with I just hate Trump more than you do, people. How could you go to a dinner? It shows I hate Trump more than you. Boring. And also, I earned all these epithets. Not a smart guy, better than Sominex, fired like a dog, dumbass, not an intellectual, terrible show, moron, stupid guy, bad ratings, failing comedian. I earned these because I did all these editorials about Trump before anybody. I did the one where he's, to your point, where he's a con man, where he promises things. And I did the one of he's a mafia boss. I did these a long time ago. Well, okay, so like you Johnny-come-latelys, like I've been there. I'm onto something else. You should get on that page.
I think the hard part is like, look, I think that everybody should take the opportunity to go talk to anybody. If I had the opportunity to go sit in front of Trump, I would relish that opportunity to interview him. 7 days out of 7, I would take that chance.
This wasn't an interview.
No, I understand.
It was more like this. But like this is not an interview.
But the point,
plainly, plainly, this is not an interview.
But the point that I'm trying to make is like, I do think that the idea that okay, he's a different person behind closed doors. It feels almost worse because he should know better then. It's bad enough if he was like this guy, right?
You know what? You said it yourself. It feels, and that's the point. It's just about your feelings. I'm not on that page.
Yeah.
It actually, logically, I think it's better. I find myself more comforted knowing that, and here's the line I said, that got him mad. I said, a crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV lives in the White House.
But isn't that worse?
It's not the ideal. I agree. But,
well, it's definitely not
we're
the
not
ideal.
living in a world of ideals. But logically, what's better? To think that the crazy person you see who's going to go invade Greenland and do these crazy things is like that's the only guy, or to know that, oh, wow, there's somebody who's so much more self-aware. Sorry, but he is. Somebody who actually can laugh. I made this point. I'd never seen him laugh in public, and I don't trust people who don't laugh.
Yeah.
But I saw it in private. But not a big belly laugh, but like, okay, there's somebody there who's better than the person I've been seeing. To me, that's better.
Well,
ideal.
Does this question,
I get it, not ideal.
Does this question resonate with you? Shouldn't he know better then?
Of course, but if shoulds and buts were beer and nuts, we'd have a hell of a party. But I'm living in reality. What world are you living in?
I agree, but my contention with this is like, okay, if this guy is self-aware, then what's the excuse for sending the military into Los Angeles? What's the excuse for pretending that he won the 2020 election?
Sweetheart, I have my hate list. I give you my hate list. It's a long list.
Yeah. But that's the part that I think is like, if I don't disagree that he's more self-aware than he's letting on, but that makes it almost worse for me because seeing somebody who knows better and yet makes the conscious decision to engage in this bullshit.
People are complicated. Here's my theory on the whole thing, and I don't think it's actually something that hasn't been sort of said before by other people in different ways, but I think partly because of the way he was raised by his father, just partly New York.
Which is to say, not hearing the words "I love you."
Right, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's in that great movie. I heard you.
I was an executive producer.
My friend Noor was a producer on that. Awesome movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it,
highly
The Apprentice, Sebastian Stan,
and Jeremy Strong.
As Roy Cohen. It's a genius movie that did not get its due because we're so partisan. half the people were like, oh, it's terrible to Trump. And then half the people were like, it's too nice to him. Because you see him becoming Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And you do feel, because he is a human. People say, oh, you went to the White House, you humanized him. He's a human.
Yeah.
Okay, could we just get past that? He's not Hitler and he's not inhuman. He's a human, a flawed one. I'll give you that. But he is a human. And I forget what we're talking about.
I mean, well, look, it's a low bar. Like, he is a human. So
Right.
I will grant him that. Like,
Okay,
even,
but some people don't. And he's
Look,
also not Hitler.
look, I
That
think
doesn't help.
I think I have not and won't, throw that around, especially, as a Jew with my entire family. But I would also say too, I mean, we would be fools to ignore by virtue of not wanting to seem alarmist some pretty telling warning signs that are right under our noses right now. No. I think the problem that we face is we become immune to a lot of this stuff. The fact that it's like a slow moving, all of this stuff is slow moving.
Slow moving coup. I wonder who coined that phrase in 2016.
Well, look, you got your sign.
Slow moving coup. I was saying that before he was elected the first time.
I'm not taking it away from you.
Okay.
But I'm saying we inure ourselves to this stuff. It becomes normalized by virtue of the fact that it's happening over time. But I think if you asked anybody in 2016, hey, how would you feel if a president who defied a 9-0 Supreme Court order decided to send the military into American cities with no end date so that he can enact some nebulous plan? You would not hesitate for a second to say that sounds fashy to me.
It does, and it is.
And just because we've been here and we've seen it happen slowly over the course of a decade, should not and does not negate the things that are happening.
And musing about a third term.
Correct.
All these extra legal things he does.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, we have no argument about that. As I always say to the woke, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Do you think that there would have been? I'm curious. Do you think any Democrat? I have an opinion on this. Do you think any Democrat would have been able to beat Trump?
I am all in on Mamdani.
Wait. Okay. Wait. Well, let's stick to.
I'm fucking with it.
Like, in 24, do you think anybody on the left could have defeated Trump? I have an answer for this, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I mean, I'm a Californian, and I'm friendly with our governor, who I also get on his case and have for being far too left. And it's becoming like we're friends, so it's kind of a kidding thing. But, like I will talk to him about the first thing when I see him. I won't even say his name. I'll just start on the potholes, or I couldn't get my solar hooked up, or all the crazy of California that he has to wear as baggage. I mean, it's a state where it's hard to buck that, but yeah, I think you could, and he's starting to. He has moved to the right, or let's say the center, on 3 big issues that I could name. I won't bore the crowd, or maybe we will. But, and this is what I've been hoping he could do. It's a lot of baggage. But I always thought this guy has what it takes to be a presidential winner, because he's just really smart. He's a great fighter. Like, he's mean, which is great. He knows how to be mean where you should. And he looks great. That doesn't hurt to be the tall, good-looking guy in the race. Yeah. The Democrats, I think, have maybe learned their lesson and gone through their phase where they couldn't stand the sight of a white heterosexual man. And maybe they're over that now.
I wonder if there will be electoral. Like, Democrats love to worry about electability. So we'll often get meta with it and say, like, okay, I want X person, but I have to choose Y person because I don't think X person can win, instead of just choosing X person because you want them, because you like them. But I think to that point, because I don't think that we've shed our interminable fear of not winning elections and focusing on electability, I do think that after Hillary, after Kamala, I don't know that Democrats are going to be able to stomach putting forward a woman as the nominee, just because of those 2 reasons. I think that there's a world in which Democrats are going to say, two of the last three nominees were women. Both of those women lost. The man won, and so for fear of losing again to whoever, whether it's some iteration of the Steve Bannon, let's put Trump in for a third term, or J.D. Vance or whoever it is. I think there will be a reversion if I had to guess. But then again, I told you I can't predict
couldn't
anything.
agree more. I would, again, and I have made a lot of predictions, and all of them were right except Kamala. Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. I mean, I kind of did that as wishful thinking. But this is where it circles back to the Seth Rogen show. Because them casting the president and vice president slot is exactly that episode.
Yeah.
They're going to start out.
Totally.
They're going to go, okay, we can't have a woman.
Yeah.
Because we just had two and they lost. But we can't have a white man. Or we have to have some non-white man presence on the ticket. So it's going to be, okay, so it's going to be, say it's Gavin, and then it's going to be like, okay, and then, Pete Buttigieg, because he's also gay. Okay, but then what are you saying? That gays can only get the sex, and they're going to do the exact episode?
Probably. I mean, that's.
I know.
I mean, look, the reality of the situation is that Democrats are the Big Ten party, and there are a lot of coalitions that are represented. It would be a hell of a lot easier to be a Republican. You're just a bunch of old Christian white guys, And so,
well, I would hardly call Trump a Christian.
Well, I mean, but that's who he panders to. He's certainly not pandering to the atheists out there.
No.
So, I mean, that's their problem to deal with. The fact that they have that they have accepted as their deity a guy who, I mean, not exactly embracing the ideals of Christianity on a daily basis.
Question to me is like a perfect example of how people want something in the middle. I'm hoping to give them that. And on either side, they're ridiculous. I mean, the Republicans are definitely too white male, and the Democrats are definitely too, we got to check the box first. And America just wants something where we just, okay, we acknowledge our terrible racial past.
Yeah.
I think most Americans think it's apropos to not just acknowledge it, but make certain remedial steps. But it's a different world than it was back in, when we were as bad as Iran. And it's also not correct to completely throw merit over the side of the ship.
Well, I actually think that the defining factor in this upcoming election, again, to predict something that I have no idea if it's going to pan out or not, is not going to be political ideology. It's actually just going to be a willingness to fight, and I think that far and away is going to be the number one thing. Democrats for so long have felt like the party of strongly worded letters. And for somebody like me who has grown up in the Trump era, like I've come of age in the Trump era, and I've watched as these motherfuckers don't care about anything. Like, we're out here saying like process, norms, institutions, and they're like, we don't give a fuck about any of those things. Democrats are like, oh, the parliamentarian says no. Republicans are like, fire the fucking parliamentarian. And this has been my whole life in politics, watching this play out, where Democrats will play by the rules in hope of some elusive reciprocation that never arrives. And we'll say, okay, we'll Mitch McConnell says he's going to put forward these new rules about the Supreme Court. Democrats get fucked. The parliamentarian says we can't include something. Democrats get fucked. Like, every single instance is Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown.
They have no shame.
And they have no shame.
You have to start with that. When Mitch McConnell did that and said, well, we've always done it where when a guy dies on the Supreme Court, whoever's president gets to pick. I know it's sort of weird because, like, 5 guys could die during one guy's term and no guys could die during another guy's term. So it's kind of a fuck system to begin with, but that's our system and we've always done it. And he just went, nope, not with this guy.
He's like, we're going to change that.
Like, the law became make me.
Yeah.
So Trump did not exactly invent that. Mitch McConnell kind of invented that.
Correct.
And Trump ran with it. It was perfect for him.
He was a symptom of the larger disease, but the disease was there. But I think that, going back to that point, whether you are willing to come in there and actually fight back. And look, you can fight for virtuous things. Like you can fight for expanded access to healthcare. You can fight for women's reproductive rights, climate change, stricter gun laws, whatever it may be on the left. But like the key word is that you're actually willing to fight. And we just don't, I mean, Democrats are older. They are of a different generation. They don't have leadership that is going, for whom fighting and winning is going to be their MO, is going to be their North Star, and they need it.
But you also have to fight against your own parties or own factions fringe.
I feel like it will. I think a big part of the reason that so many warring factions on the left are so unsettled right now is because we're not in power anywhere. And so now comes the point where everybody wants to come out of the woodwork and say, it's because of this. It's because you didn't do all of this like me, like my positions. It's because you didn't put forward these positions that I espouse. So there is no winning formula. And so as a result of that, everybody thinks their formula is the winning formula. And I think that once we win, all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, you're right, that's how you did it. Barack Obama won by doing X, Y, Z, that's how to win.
Yeah.
And it quells some of that turmoil that I think is brewing right now.
I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying, apropos to your question you asked a half hour ago or whenever it was about do I regret going to that dinner?
Yeah.
Not in the least, because I now have standing with the Republicans in a way you don't, which is why they don't do your show and they do mine. Because, and I've said it a couple of times on my show already, I said, you know what? I went to the White House. A lot of people on the left said you shouldn't even do that. And then I told the truth. And they really came after me. Remember I had dinner with Hitler, according to Larry David? I mean, come on, man. Once you play the Hitler card, you lost. But okay. So what I can say to Republicans, and have said to them, is, you know what? I told the truth. I didn't shrink from that, and I took the heat from the left. Now I want you to do the same thing. You do it. You take the heat from the right because I want you to be honest. Do you really think it's cool to talk about running for a third term? Because I know you don't. And I have standing to say that to them because I already got my beating from the left about me telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's a really important weapon to have in your pocket.
If I agree up to the point where an important weapon to have, but like, you said it yourself. This is a shameless Republican Party, and so when you come out,
shameless, but at least they hear it.
I mean, I wrote a book whose title was Shameless. Like that is the title of my book, and that came out last year. And so, like, I get it, and I think that that's actually their greatest weapon. And
in a way, yes,
because how do you shame the shameless? What tool do you have? What public pressure can you impose on somebody for whom shame doesn't exist anymore?
To get back to what we were saying a little while ago, and I never finished it, I guess one of us is stoned. But like I was saying, why Trump is different in public, and I was saying his father, you know, the way he was raised, he just has it in his head. And, you know, as a political animal, it's not completely wrong, that if you ever give an inch, if you ever show any weakness...
That's the Roy Cohen School of Management.
Right. If you ever apologize, say you were wrong about anything, it is interpreted by a certain percentage of the lizard brain as weakness.
Yeah.
And that's why in public, he never goes there. It's just always, you're an asshole and I'm right and I was never wrong and it was a perfect call. And like, there's just, I don't give an inch. But that's not who he actually is. That's what I found out. So the fact that I have more information than you, the fact that you would think that's bad, that I have more information.
No, I don't think it's bad that you have more information. I just think it doesn't count for anything.
It does.
If that's who he is in private, because nobody you don't get points.
I feel like
you don't get points for saying something. You don't get points for being self-aware in private. You get points for what you actually do on the world stage.
I'm not looking to score points.
Not you. I'm saying for him.
I'm looking to make the country better. And by the way, what happens in private is what always motivates him, I think, in public. Again, he doesn't do a lot of reading. It's a lot of, I was talking to people. People are saying, well, who are these people?
Yeah.
I would much rather there be people like me, in his ear. I think there should be more people like me. And the thing is, I'm telling you, he will listen. That's also the thing
Look,
about him.
I would rather have moderating forces there too, but
Yeah,
I think that world
he
is.
does
I think that
things-
world is gone.
I mean, he reinvented the entire Republican Party.
Correct.
I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all the things, it doesn't matter. It's a cult of personality. It's also his superpower. It means that he can turn on a dime or go against the promise he just made, just
Yeah.
like the most amazing used car salesman.
Yeah.
And the people will go along with it.
Correct.
It does not matter.
I don't know if that's a plus
mean-
for him or an indictment on the rest of the party.
Well, it's a plus for you as a politician or a
Correct,
leader. I mean,
And an indictment on the
Elon
rest of
Musk
the
was the
GOP.
greatest guy, and now he's the worst.
Yeah.
And Putin, like, okay, this apparently was his negotiating strategy. One, surrender, give Putin everything,
yeah.
and then when he disappoints me and doesn't
Yeah.
like take yes for an answer, then I turn on him. And I just cannot predict this guy or what will happen. And I'll tell you this though, he is lucky. He's a
I'd
lucky
agree with that.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist. I'm not a person who believes in like crazy shit or weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is. I don't know if he sold his soul to the devil. That is certainly possible. But he has a luck. I mean, winning the first election, you had to have pulled an inside straight like you can't believe in politics.
I didn't watch the returns until late at night in 2016 or late 2015 because I was like, Hillary's going to win. I was working that night, and I was like, I'm fine. Like it's
As an
all
actor?
good. No, I was. Nobody works as an actor. I had my other job, which was I was personal training at the time.
Personal training.
Yeah, and so
oh,
I
the
was
wrestling.
Well, no, it was just like weight training with like clients.
Another way to get near guys who are
That's
sweating.
right. I was
Look, I'm
just-
not saying anything,
They
Brian.
were they were
I'm
especially
just-
confused when I was like, you have to show up in a singlet.
But let's be honest, you did find a way to put your hands on
yeah.
men again.
Hey, you know what? I had learned.
Are you a married man? I don't know that.
I'm not.
What is your personal life like? Let's get off politics. This is club random.
It's weird being in LA because everything feels very delayed in LA. Like I'm from Jersey, like you, and everybody was married, had their families right away, like 20, 23, 24 years old. With all my friends, I went to Lehigh University, so all my friends that I graduated with from Lehigh, all my friends that I went to college with,
Pennsylvania, Lehigh.
all got married right away. Out here, it's like there's definitely a Neverland, feel to like. The
Really?
fact, yeah, there's like a major delay. I mean, all
I
of my
don't know
friends,
what you mean by that delay.
like
delay
people
of,
put. I think with the entertainment, all of my whole social circle is folks in the entertainment industry, and I think that there's such a. I feel like you can when your career is in order, it allows you to get into
restaurants.
say again.
Restaurants.
Right, restaurant. First of all, restaurants. When your career's in order, I feel like the rest of your life can kind of fall into place. But nobody's career is ever in order out here because you're just hustling the whole time if you're in the entertainment industry. And so there's this unrest. There's this sense that you're not settled in anything. And so I don't know if it's like the hustle, and I'm sure other industries are the same, but I've seen it to a degree that I've not seen it anywhere else, any other industry.
That's exactly probably how I felt when I was your age. That's not how you feel now.
When did you?
You're not going to feel that way. I mean, I'm almost 70. You're not going to feel that way because you have established yourself. You're right. When you're
it's new though.
Your mid-30s,
yeah.
You're still striving. And by the way, I'll tell you something about your future. It's like this is a lot better mentally because, at least for me, because
what is?
Well, because one of the greatest anxieties I ever had was, am I going to be a failure? How's this going to end up?
Yeah.
Once you've sort of like gotten past that, we're like, oh, even if it ended tomorrow. I mean, I've been on TV 32 years straight. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, no one's going to say that was a failed career. So like, there's a certain equanimity that comes over your mind when you have that you just don't have at your age.
When did you start Real Time?
Well, I started Real Time in 2002, but I had done Politically Incorrect for 9 years.
And how old were you when you started?
36.
Okay.
Real Time.
I'm
36.
Politically
Incorrect. Yeah.
But like,
and until then, I felt like I hadn't gotten my ticket punched.
But you grew up in Jersey, and so you grew up around regular, normal people who were not in the industry.
Oh, not at all.
And I'm sure that those people got their lives started way in advance of you. That they were having kids, that they already had 2 or 3 kids.
I never wanted to have kids.
No,
So
totally.
that was a victory, not a defeat.
Right.
You know?
But you saw people getting started with their lives in a different way than when people come out here.
What I saw that caused great anxiety was people, comics who I had started with in the clubs in New York, starting to get like famous because they got to the sitcom level.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
And I was still like and I was like, oh my gosh.
Was there a point where you didn't know if you would like make it?
Totally. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what causes all the anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, I came out here and I'd done a few Tonight shows and they loved me. And, you know, when you're the new piece of meat in town, you're always going to do well. Yeah. And I got on sitcoms and, you know, it was all going uphill. And then, you know, at a certain point it plateaus and you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to be the third lead on Bringing Up Chunky, you know. And then there's a part where there was like the early 90s. I was like, oh, shit, I'm home all day writing scripts. Am I going to ever really? And then I got politically incorrect and, you know, never looked back. But it takes a while to get that sort of feeling that, oh,
I'll be okay.
Yeah, I'll be okay, and I'll be remembered as a success.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not important to some people.
No, I mean, look, I think if you're in this industry, if you're in, and I say this industry, if you're in entertainment, I think that there is and I don't say this in a bad way because I'm in the same industry too, but there is a degree of narcissism, right? Like,
sure.
I'm sure there's a nicer way to put it, but I think anybody in this industry is not an introvert, right? And so there is that sense of, you know, anybody who wants to get in front of people, wants to entertain people, wants to move people, there is a degree of that. And if you feel like, you know, you're doing this job and you can't break through and that you're not going to be remembered or you're not going to get a good part, you're not going to be able to show people what you can do, then like there is that nagging sense of like failure looming.
And there is also the possibility, although I would say it's fairly slim, but it is, you know, one of 10 chambers in the gun where you are really good and you still don't make it.
Yeah. Oh,
some of it is just.
I would give it more than one chamber.
You think so?
Like, oh, I mean, this. I see the way. I mean, I've done the whole thing, the auditions and this and that. The easiest jobs I've gotten and the best jobs I've gotten have not been because you walk in an audition room and they pluck you out of 30 people who auditioned. It's because somebody who's already on a movie tells the executive producer that, hey, I'm going to do this, but you're going to put my buddy in as guy number 2.
And even
this is a nepotistic town.
It totally is. And even if that happens, the luck part comes in is that movie going to be a hit?
Are you going to be in the final cut?
Right.
I've gotten
right.
I've gone through the whole shitty process of getting an agent, getting called in for an audition, getting a call back, going for producers, booking the role, shooting the thing, and I don't even make the final cut. So all you get paid for is your day rate for the actual shoot, and you're not even in the thing. And so you have to go through all these steps, and at the end of the day, you might not even get anything for it.
Right. And if the movie isn't a hit, no one will see it.
Yeah.
You know, and if it is, even if you had nothing to do really with making it a hit, but you're in it, then your ticket goes way up.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah,
it's all like kind of a crapshoot.
There is some luck. I do also think that the really superior talent always wins out.
Yeah.
I just think there's no way to keep down. Sometimes you have to keep knocking on the door for a while, but there's no way to keep down one of those giants' talents. I mean, there's no
cream rises to the top.
Spielberg. Yes, I mean, show business has a lot of bullshit in the middle.
Yeah.
But the cream, I mean, there's no way Steven Spielberg wasn't, you know, maybe Jaws, what if Jaws was not a hit? What if people in 1975, people were like, sharks? That's the last thing I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm swimming in the ocean, for Christ's sake. But they did. But like, would he have never risen? No, I don't think so. I think it would have taken the next one and the next one. And that's how real the contenders, not the pretenders.
Yeah. It's a tough industry though. I mean, like, you know, I moved out here to act, and that exact scenario that I played out, which is like getting an agent, getting representation, trying to get in these rooms, which is half the battle. Then when you get into the rooms, trying to get a call back, trying to get people to like you, the directors, the producers, whoever's sitting in that room. And there's a lot of people. The reason that I started doing digital media, digital political media, first of all, I'm passionate about politics, and that's been my whole life. But my whole career in entertainment has been a lot of people, has been me waiting for people to say yes. And I can't move forward unless every single person, every step of the way says yes. And if there's one person who says no,
right.
I'm done. And so I started doing videos on...
Way too collaborative.
I mean, I started doing videos on Facebook, and I would shoot them alone. I would set up my camera, hit record. I'd write my own scripts, and I continue to.
You made the right choice. I mean, acting is such a 1 in a million shot. I mean, even if you're good at it, you can be like the greatest character actor in the world. You make middling money.
Yeah.
All the money goes to the above the title stars.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people know your face, and you can't even get a table at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And if you dare to like turn a role down because they're not paying you enough, they'll go, we'll go to the next character actor who's also very good at his job, and also people don't know his name, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know what? We don't, the world has more than one Charles Durning.
Yeah.
I don't mean to insult Charles Durning, who was terrific.
But like, you know, the world is changing too, because when I grew up, like that was, I mean, TV and film are like the thing, right? Everybody wants to be a movie star, and now these kids like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they watch YouTube, and so I talk to my niece and nephew,
Right. Oh, sure.
and they love YouTubers.
Yes.
And it's weird because you know I grew up idolizing like you know Tom Hanks and all these guys who I you know Russell Crowe and Adam Sandler and all the guys that I grew up watching on TV, watching in their movies. And it's just a different world where like now people watch streamers and you know, just stare at YouTube all day, stare at Twitch all day.
I try not to pander to that, but I do have a new YouTube coming out about how to shave your back. I'm just saying, guys.
Huge demand for that among the Gen Alpha contingent.
But isn't that your impression that that's a lot of what goes on? It's like opening presents. And
I mean, like it is weird because you have we grew up in an era where you have the best 22 minutes of TV that get filtered down so that there's never a dull moment.
Right.
And streaming is inherently 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of a lot of filler, and it's even my videos are short. Like my YouTube videos average about 8 to 12 minutes, and I make sure that there's not even a breath. So it's just protein, right? No empty calories. But streaming is a whole different animal, and people will just sit there. I mean, viewing habits have changed, and people will sit there and watch these people who kind of like inform their whole worldview. Yeah, I mean, you know.
I mean, when I started this, the first year we were doing like an hour, and the biggest complaint was
it's not long enough.
And I would always say, wow, the American attention span, it's either 8 seconds or 3 hours.
That's been the hard part.
There's no middle ground.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, 1 hour was like, you are cheating us. And so I was like, yeah, hey, can I get high for 2 hours? You bet I can.
Yeah. Have you ever had, do you notice like a marked change from as you smoke more and more? Are you different, or are you basically steady the whole time?
Bro,
I smoke.
I wish I could get that high. I've been smoking for half a century, more than time you've been alive. I wish I could get that high, but they just don't have it. And I mean, I'd have to mainline it or something. Yeah. And that's okay. I don't need to get crazy high.
Do you ever impose week-long or month-long stops so that when you smoke again, it'll be more potent, be more effective?
That has been one of my New Year's resolutions.
For how many years?
Since 1975. No, seriously, I would love to do that. No, it's never it's like the guy in Airplane. I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. You know, I mean, there's just never a good week. And you know what I have to say about pot is that it's not something that calls to me to smoke it, which I would call an addiction. When I was smoking cigarettes, it demanded that I smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
Pot never, I don't even think about smoking pot. unless I have a reason.
Until the joint is in your hand every day.
As you can see. Figure.
Yeah.
No, until I have a...
Tell me more about how you know.
Well, because you're seeing me at a
Yeah.
moment where I smoke pot.
Right, no, I know.
But like, I really don't, like, I'm not like watching TV at night and go, oh boy, I wish I was stoned right now. Or like, I got to get up. And it doesn't even cross my mind.
I mean, it kind of does for me. Like, I
You smoke?
I smoke every,
no wonder.
well, because
Oh, okay.
I get
it. I get it.
yeah, that would be any useful conversation.
I get it. Same reason I don't smoke for real time.
Yeah.
That would be a disaster because it's too much. Some things you can do stoned. I mean, I can. I won't talk for everybody. And some things you can't.
Yeah.
But the things that I can, I always want to do stoned.
Yeah.
You know, this, fucking, you know, there's certain things, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
writing, you know, that are like just easier, better.
Oh, see, I can't do anything where I need to be where I have to make cogent thoughts. And which I think is actually a good thing because I reserve it for fun, and which for me is at the end of the day. Like I usually finish. I'll work like about 14 hours a day, and
Wow.
I'll start at 7 or 8 in the morning, and I'll go until about 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And which means I only have like a couple hours of downtime.
Your girl must be pissed at you.
I'm a blast to date.
Do you live together?
We do, yeah. But
Well,
it's always.
Do you
been-
work out of your house?
I work out of the house, so I'm around all day long. It's not like she's
So
hurting to see
you
me.
could go from working dude to Mac Daddy in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if I was working, if I wasn't working 15 hours a day, then yeah. But I mean, I do. Look, I work out of my house, and there's
you
plenty
know-
to keep me busy the whole day.
And you attribute this to Judaism.
This must be my dream. We can't have
I'm
milk.
just-
I have no gastrointestinal system. I'm allergic to anything with whey, casein, any
serious now?
dairy. Say again.
Are you serious now?
I actually am. I actually am serious.
Why? Is that a Jewish thing?
Yeah, it's a Jewish thing. We're built like we are not a robust people. Jews, we may be like the attorneys and the doctors, but like give us a cup of fucking milk and we're done.
What is about? I've heard that. Why is that? What
Because
is
we're
that?
2% of the world's population, and there
even.
is a certain degree of.
Not even. Not 2%.
Is it not even 2%? Is it 0?
15 million people out of 8 billion.
Is it
It's
0?
not 2%.
Is it 0.2%?
That's more like.
0. Because
It's
we're
definitely not 2%.
because we're 0.2% of the world's population.
Wait.
And
8 billion. So 2% would be 800 million, right? Wait. What's 10% of 8 billion?
Oh boy.
I'm the stone one. That would be 800 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not that. That's
so
10%.
so 80
So
million.
it's a fifth of 800.
160 million.
It's not
160
what
million.
Jews are.
Yeah. In any case.
It's a 0.02 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway,
Very
that's
tiny.
why we're allergic to dairy. that's why our gastrointestinal systems are failing as a collective whole.
It's interesting that the Bible, especially books like Leviticus,
Yeah.
have a lot of laws about eating. And they're right next to like slavery, not a problem, just, don't beat your slave.
Yeah.
Or if you kill your slave, if you kill another man's slave, he gets to take your slave. Like lots of rules about slavery, none of them don't do it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Ironically enough.
right next to that is like, don't eat lobster.
Yeah.
Like fucking don't mix meat with milk.
Yeah.
Like, okay, slavery, lobster,
Yeah.
and it's just so funny that people take this shit seriously because it was obviously written in an era where people were just, I'm sorry, no insult to the people back then, but you were early on in the human parade.
I mean, you're talking about like bleeding people out via leeches and.
that was much later.
Yeah.
That works. They still do it.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Is
They
that for real?
absolutely still use leeches.
But does
sometimes
it work?
it's the best way to bleed someone out. Can you imagine?
Wait, when you say the best way to bleed someone out,
like
is that
they
a thing?
do it in the hospital.
And leeches are the
Leeches.
best way to do it?
Yes,
You mean in some places?
in some instances, not places, instances.
What would, I'm just so curious what an instance would be
I'm not Dr.
where they're
Oz,
like,
bro.
where they're like,
I know-
we have
No.
a PICC line here, but hear me out.
Right.
Hear me out.
It's
We've got.
sometimes the natural way is best.
Yeah.
Let me introduce Dr. Ho, my Chinese holistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was just a bad example, but I get your point.
But anyway, going back to the weed thing, yeah, that's I guess I keep it to non-work stuff, and so for me it has a good association because it means that I get to watch movies, I get to eat, and I enjoy food more. Like you just enjoy everything a little bit more, and it's a quick way. It's a quick way to wind down without a hangover, and I have to be on camera every single day, and I work 7 days a week.
So you use pot the way most people do, more for relaxation.
Yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. I use it for work. Not that sex is work, but it's effort. You know, it's like you got to be. it's good, but like it's not passive. Watching a movie is passive. I would never get stoned to watch a movie.
I've had a couple of instances where I've smoked and I'm like, for all intents and purposes, out of commission. And then something happens in the news, and I think like 2 or 3 times, and this is over like the last the last few years, but like 2 or 3 times where, I mean, I'll usually wait until it's pretty late at night, but we live in the Trump era, and anything can happen pretty late at night.
Right.
And I'm already high, and I'm like, see something break, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try, and I just like, and I have to just
and you have to
power
get it
through.
out that fast.
Oh,
your
yeah.
audience wants you to react to something that quickly.
That's the whole game. That's how it goes on YouTube. I mean, like you
wow, I'm like
news has a couple.
I'm so the opposite. I'm on vacation. This is our summer break.
Yeah.
I mean, right after we went off the air, Trump dropped his big bomb.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not on social media. I'm like, you know what? If you want to know what I think, you'll wait for me to come back in August.
You're lucky in the sense that you're established.
I'm sure that's not the right way to do it, but I
mean, look, you're established to the point where you can do that. I'm
just saying I shouldn't. It's not.
No, I mean, but
it's not really.
But you don't need. You're not trying to make a name for yourself. You know what I mean? You've got your show. This is still part of the rat race and making sure that you can get your news out before everybody else.
That's why I do it. It's cooler. Yeah, you'll wait for me, bitch. Yeah, you'll hear what I said about the bomb. Well, now they know I said it on the podcast.
That's right. But like, it's all kind of like, I left the entertainment industry because it felt like too much of a rat race. I'm in a different kind of rat race, but it's it's the same thing.
Also, you're still in the entertainment industry. You're just,
writing my own material.
Well, and also for people whose idea of entertainment is something intellectually nutritious.
Yeah.
And something that has to deal with what's going on in the world. I mean, when you eliminate like the percentage of the population that they don't like you, they don't like me, it's not because of they just are not interested in what we're talking about. What was the thing that you called the Iran deal before? The JBB?
Oh, JCPOA.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't know that one. They don't even know about the Iran deal.
Yeah.
Or care.
Yeah.
Did you see Trump the other day at the White House when he was putting up 2 giant flag poles?
Yeah.
And he had like 6 construction workers behind him. And of course he's Trump. So he goes out there and he just starts riffing. And the picture, even the New York Times couldn't help themselves by showing a realistic picture. All the construction guys behind him just smiling from ear to ear, laughing.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, hey, whatever he was talking about. I mean, and they were like, wow, we're just here at the White House putting in a flagpole, and this dude wanders out and just starts spewing. And like, that is a connection to the everyday person that most politicians, love him or hate him, they just do not have.
It'll be interesting to see like who the Democrats do choose to put forward, because I think.
Who do you want?
Who do I want?
Yeah, you must have an idea. You must have a number one.
I don't know who I want yet.
Come on.
Dead honest truth. I don't know who I want yet. I want someone who, like I told you before, is going to be a fighter. I don't really know.
Well, I'll give you my top 2. My top 3. Gavin, Pete, Ari, not Ari, he's my agent, his brother, Rahm Emanuel. Yeah.
Rahm Emanuel.
I mean, and I get it, they're all white men, thank God. Thank God Pete is not interested in vaginas. So there's something in there.
So
but those are my top 3.
Retain your progressive bona fides.
Oh my God! Well, I'm talking about. These are the Democrats.
No, I know.
But
I think some other names.
Those are 3, I think, very talented politicians. They all have something that recommends them highly. They're all good. All those 3 guys are good. That is a talented field to like make the final choice from. is my estimation.
I think those names are very likely to be there. I think Wes Moore is another name to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I don't.
The governor of Maryland.
I just don't know enough about him.
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
why. That's the only reason why.
Which, by the way, in this environment may play to his favor because Pete has baggage with the Biden administration. Gavin has baggage because he's the governor of California, the big punching bag of the United States.
Okay,
Wes Moore has no he doesn't have name ID, but he has no baggage right now.
But here's something that some percentage of voters will think if it's Wes Moore. They'll think, okay, the Democrats put up Kamala, who really wasn't that great, because they're the Democrats, and they just had to put up a person of color. So now you got this guy, Wes Moore, and come on, isn't he there just because he's a person of color? I'm not saying that's what the truth is.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's what the Democrats bought themselves with going too far on the DEI train. That's what they bought themselves. Suspicion now for any person of color who is at the head of the ticket.
I think he will. I know him to a degree, and I think that he will. That he'll dispel any of those rumors. And
the more the merrier that are qualified.
I really honestly think these days, it feels less to me like it's gonna be about checking any boxes and more about who the person is. If you look at
well, that's optimistic.
Well, but yeah, I mean, look, you have to have some optimism in this space. If you don't, you'll go crazy. Like if you have no sense of hope and you work work in democratic politics.
Honestly, the fact that New York is considering electing Mamdani mayor is not a great harbinger for the Democratic Party. That is not a great look.
It is a testament.
Maybe you like him. Maybe he's your boy.
It is a testament to the fact. Here's what I think. I think it's a testament to the fact that despite what in the past might have seemed like disqualifying factors, I think that people are drawn to the individual candidates who can stand out among fields of very rote, boring politicians.
You kind of look like him,
I look like
I'm just saying.
Like Zohran Mamdani.
I don't know how you could like this guy, but okay.
I think he is. I really don't have a whole lot of opinions on the New York mayoral race because I really haven't followed that race.
Oh fuck! Come on. Who are you fucking talking to here? You with your show and getting out of bed at 3 in the morning, stoned out of your mind to report, doesn't have thoughts on the New York mayoral race where New York City is about to nominate, well, he's definitely going to be the Democratic candidate for mayor, someone who has said things like the government should take over the means of production. I'm not going to suggest what political party of the past that is aligned with, but I think we all know it begins with a C. That's pretty crazy stuff. And the ugly streak of anti-Semitism that is going through the far left of the Democratic Party, that is going to be the downfall. I mean, I would hope that at least the Jews would get on that page.
I think, well, here's what I do think as it relates to Jews in New York. I think that if the Jews wanted a candidate to consolidate behind, if Mamdani was not their speed, that they made a mistake by putting Cuomo out as
they did, but that's past history.
On
my hate list, Trump talking about how he's going to have to go after New York City. I thought the Republicans were all about states' rights and get the federal government. They're too powerful out of our lives.
No, they're full of shit. They'll say whatever they need to say at the time. But these flashy bumper stickers go on.
None of these things that Trump does elude me or stop me from criticizing.
Yeah.
I get it. The idea as much as I don't want Mamdani to be the mayor, the idea that the President of the United States would say, well, the federal government is going to have to straighten out your city. Again, guys, Republicans, I have standing to say to you, be honest, that this is exactly the opposite of what you've always said you think the federal government should be. Not someone who says they can come and straighten out your city. Because that wasn't okay in Alabama, was it?
No. I mean, for these local races, I truly don't really focus on the local races other than LA, because this city I know. And I've been focused
Well,
on
you
like
should start. Because this is,
well,
this thing
unfortunately,
in New York is not just, this is New York. We're not talking
it's
about,
it's the mayor's race.
it's a mayor of New York City.
I understand, but
New York City is
look,
different. It is our financial capital. It is our cultural capital in many ways. It's New York. You know,
I would say LA is the cultural capital. Our biggest export is culture.
Well, look, I mean,
The entertainment industry, the film, TV and film industry. Although my
early years were all dominated by New York as a suburb of New York. My father worked in New York, New York TV, New York sports teams, and then I lived there twice in my life.
Yeah.
I very much know New York. I'm not fond of it. You know, I respect it, but there are reasons why I never wanted to live there, and I love here. That's just, you know, personality thing. But New York is New York. It's definitely it's the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Do you think, let's say, you know, on the seize the means of production, do you think that the mayor, that one person, if he is a democratic socialist, do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to like usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
I think the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela, just bad ideas. And again, this ugly streak, streak of anti-Semitism.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's, you know, Bernie is, Bernie is, I mean, he's not a capitalist, you know?
No, he's not. And he's also not president.
He's not, but
never would be.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, but he will, trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
But they're going to feature people, they boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but
they make anybody into boogeyman.
It has.
I think it was
just have more weight when it's real. I mean, when you can really show it. I mean, you know.
Look, if he becomes mayor, I'll tell you one thing is certain. I'm rooting for him. I come from a long line of Brooklynites. My whole family's from Brooklyn before we eventually moved to New Jersey, and I moved 3,000 miles away. But you know, I want to see New York succeed. I want to see him succeed.
I do too.
You know, and so I think in instances like this, where you can call yourself a democratic socialist, whether you're going to be able to unilaterally usher. I mean, I know how LA works. I know how LA politics work. And I know that if the mayor wants to do something, they're probably not going to be able to do it because the LA City Council is an impediment to that, because all of our local politics are an impediment to just about anything that you want to get done. Things happen so slowly.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna ask you a couple of personal questions, and then we're gonna play the game with my...
All right, let's do it.
Do you read The New Yorker?
No.
Never read The New Yorker?
No,
But you're kind of a New Yorker.
Yeah, but I grew up like on the New York Times, and that slowly devolved into, and I use that word on purpose, devolved into like getting my news on Twitter. And so if there's a news...
Still?
Yeah.
Even after Elon?
Do I wish our news sources weren't controlled by megalomaniacal billionaires? Yeah. Is that going to stop me from getting accurate news?
Right.
No. I mean, look, you have to also be smart about it. Like, you can't. I'm not going to go onto Twitter and fall victim to, like, you know, any fucking, you know, random account post something. I'm not just going to blindly believe it. I know what sources I believe on that are on Twitter, but it's, you know, I know what journalists I can trust. I know what news sources I can trust, but I get them on Twitter. That's the fastest way to get news, unfortunately.
Wow. I would not have even guessed that it kept that cachet, but I guess, you know,
I do it through gritted teeth.
I mean, well, that you got to give it to Elon then, because like even after people started to hate him and light his Teslas on fire, they somehow still couldn't get off Twitter because
But
you know why?
that's not because of Elon. That's in spite of Elon.
Well,
Twitter,
that's true too.
Twitter
Yes.
is a commodity,
Right.
And
But
I
it's
think
also because and I went after him for this. Like
Yeah.
he went back on a big promise he made, which was he wanted to take over Twitter because it had become a left-wing echo chamber, which he was completely right about. It had. But then he just made it a right-wing echo chamber.
Yeah.
He just reversed it. He didn't do what he said he was going to do, which like I just want free speech and nobody put their thumb on the scale, and it just switched. That's not cool. But the reason why it survives, I think, so well is because the alternative was blue sky, which is just that 10%, the ones who absolutely hate me, the ones who just like to live divorced from reality, and that is their right. But they just want to hear coming back to them what they already believe, and and sometimes it's true, and I would agree with quite a bit of it. But I don't want to just be in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
So like all these things, and I could keep listing these things that the left does not condemn enough, and now you see politicians on the left who are starting to come out of the woodwork and do that. And until they, and I'm sorry, but people like you start condemning that stuff, that party is never going to even come close to winning another election.
Yeah, I think that that there is an issue with like some of the groups that are I think probably think that they mean well by saying like, okay, even with these edge cases, even with these like crazy like transgender reassignment surgeries in prison, right? Like edge case, by putting politicians on record, they're actually doing more harm than good because the American people are not there. That's clear. And
should they be?
Should they be like transgender on the issue of transgender reassignment surgeries in prison? I don't think that that's no. I don't think that that's like something I'm willing to like. I don't think that that's.
Does it even need that many words? How about just no? That's stupid.
I don't think that's a hill that I'm willing to die on. And so
should a hill should even fight for?
So like I think the groups that think that they're helping are in fact hurting themselves and the people they purport to want to protect by getting people on record in a party where I think the expectation is that you have to fight for all people, no matter how like off the beaten path, you know, like transgender reassignment surgeries in prison, like those people. But like I think that there is a fundamental misunderstanding of how A, information can be weaponized, and B, the number of those people that fall into those categories is like single-digit numbers of people.
Again, it's not the number of people; it's the number of people who
I
are
understand what you're saying.
defending it.
Yeah,
okay?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, that's what's important. And you know, I know she said during the campaign, I never said that, and then they, you know, like, come on, they have film of you doing it.
Yeah.
It's
look,
like,
I think there's a sense that like, and this is a tough juggling act because there's a sense of like, no one, like everyone's okay. Like whatever you choose to do is okay. You know what I mean? And it's this weird like, I mean, this would normally be like a libertarian stance, but libertarians don't believe in this anymore. But like whatever you want to do is fine. And I think that's the hard part to reconcile because like do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
Like if you want to whatever, be a trans person, be like everything.
It's protected by law.
Correct, but like I think there's this sense of like among Democrats is whatever you want to do, whatever you want to believe in, however you want to dress or love, whatever is okay. Yeah. And the part that butts up against that is okay, what protections should be made? What in sports, how should that reconcile?
It would be hard for you to point to somewhere in the legal system where we don't already have protections for every imaginable minority or marginalized group. It would be hard to find that in the law. I'm not saying everyone obeys the law all the time. But as far as in the law, systemically, I mean, you know, you can't really find that. And including the one that the Supreme Court made recently that included trans people in the, was it 1964 Civil Rights Act or something like that? Okay. You know, so look, humans are humans. They're going to believe stupid shit, and they're going to be a certain amount of racists and bigots and this and that. But you can't legislate humans.
Yeah.
All we can do is we have. Look, I think we live. You're happy you live in America, aren't you? As opposed to anywhere else. You're not.
Yeah.
Look, you're not asking for the check, right?
I'm happy I live in Los Angeles. I'm happy I'm living in California. I'm lucky as hell to live
Even
in
with
America.
fires and all the problems we have
I wouldn't
out
want to
here.
live. I would not want to live anywhere else, and I would not live anywhere else.
I feel the same way.
See,
Okay,
right?
well, you promised me one thing. Bill Maher.
Hey,
Nice to
Bill.
meet you from across the room. How are you?
I'm great.
Been reading a lot.
Nice to see
That's what
you.
I hear. Been reading a lot about you. You all right?
I'm great.
You look a little tired. You okay? Are you okay? You coming down or something?
Yeah, I think I'm all right.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can I get you a drink?
There's quite a few things I have.
You want tequila?
Your team made me a ginger and lemon tea, which is delicious.
What about tequila?
It looks
What,
great.
you want to live forever?
It looks great on display.
Oh, wait. You are the guy who does want to live forever. I'm sorry. That's the pot talking.
What will you be drinking?
Tequila. I don't want to. Well, I'd love to, but not at the price of. Well, let's get into that because that's. No, you're 47. You
Well-
look 19. So something's working. I mean, not a human 19, but 19.
Okay, all right.
No, you look good. But honestly, no, I've never met you before. I always say with age, you can shave off a certain. I'm going to be 69 in a week. I probably look a little younger because, I'd owe it all to clean liquor. No, I don't drink very much, really just tea.
Yeah.
But, is it worth shaving 10 years off? You don't think you're going to actually be immortal, right?
What are you doing for your 69th birthday party?
Nothing. I'm done with birthday parties.
Really? Nothing's happening?
I hope not. I mean, because I just don't think it's anything to celebrate anymore.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be reminded of it. I only look forward.
What does 69 feel like?
That's a great question because it certainly doesn't feel like what I thought it would from watching my father, who was 2 years short of dead at 69. But even when he was 50, I remember him, we had a peach basket on the driveway to shoot baskets as kids do. And, I'd be shooting, he'd come out and like throw up with 2 shots and, my arm hurts. He'd run 3 steps and be out of breath.
Yeah.
And I played basketball, not like with the Lakers, but, games. Okay, against girls, but, girls are good now.
Yeah. And now?
What?
And now? Do you still play?
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, you hook it
that's
up,
my
yeah.
my 69 is definitely not my
Yeah.
father's 69.
Yeah.
But when I play a long game or pickleball, I must say, like for a few days after, I feel it.
You feel it.
Yeah. But I mean, Christ, they talk about professional athletes who feel it. And they play obviously a rougher version and amazing what elite athletes do. But, you hear them talk about football players and basketball players. The announcers are like, and he's 34 and he's still doing it. It's like, he's 34 and he's still doing it. That's what's amazing about that play.
Yeah.
It's 34.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
It's kind of, yeah, it is.
But I guess the question, everything I've read that you do, look, I do a lot of stuff people think is nuts.
Like what?
No bread.
Why don't you do bread?
Bread's bad.
Bread's bad. Okay, I agree.
Wheat and
Yeah, I agree. Like it doesn't hit the threshold that it should be included. It's not good enough.
especially the way we've bastardized it.
Yeah.
The way we raise it now,
Yeah.
put it in silos, which it gets fungusy and stuff, They definitely think I'm medically nuts.
Yeah. Do you?
I also take like many, many supplements a day. I know you. How many do you take?
It's like 40 or 50 now.
Oh, I take more than that.
You take more than me, yeah.
Well, probably around that number, but I guess some twice a day.
Yeah.
But, and it's not crazy stuff. They're not vitamins. Vitamins, I think you should get through food, no?
Mm.
You believe that?
Yes, depends on which ones. Yes.
I mean, it's not just what you put into your body, it's what your body can then use and metabolize,
Yeah.
or it doesn't contradict. You know, some things contradict, like calcium and iron.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Do you share your health practices publicly? Do people know you do these things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, over the years on my show, does this issue come up? Of course. Of health in general, certainly COVID. They didn't. The woke did not like me during COVID. I get the feeling
You took a lot of heat.
Out there today. No, this is right after we had the fire. That some people are just thrilled that there's another reason to wear a mask.
That's true. Anything to bring it back.
Come on. No, the first thing I said, the first week, right before they took us off, and I had to actually film the show here in my backyard for 6 months. That was so smart. Was the three S's. This is how you take sugar, stress, sleep. Take care of that. And, you know, I never thought it was going to get me. It never did until I got the vaccine. And then I got it 3 weeks later. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just saying I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all, as many people have that point of view, and some people don't, and we can be reasonable and talk about that. But there are pathogens where I would fight you for the vaccine. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I am a proponent of vaccines generally. I'm glad that
And
vaccine.
what about the COVID one? You got it?
I did, but I regret getting it.
Yeah, me too. Exactly.
Yeah, I think
I got it because I had to continue my life.
Yeah.
And I do not like being coerced like that.
Yeah, it was. Well, I guess it was complicated because the government's role is to share data. It's not to sway your opinion. And in that
Preach,
moment,
brother.
they were swaying opinion and not providing data.
And squelching opinion.
Yeah.
Not swaying is one thing. I'm okay with swaying. I sway here a lot. I sway both ways on a good night. But not squelching. This is exactly what Zuckerberg
was just talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Revealing what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All the maneuvering and the cover up.
I think his quote was they were screaming at us, or calling up and screaming at us to take off stuff that was provably true.
Yeah.
That's. I need a drink,
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
I need a drink.
Can I
yeah. What?
softly try to persuade you to not do that?
Drink?
Is that alcohol?
Yeah. Well, no, that's sparkling
But
water.
this is alcohol.
Yeah, that's fucking alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Can I softly try to persuade you to?
Oh, Brian, I'm 69. Give me a break. You don't think I weighed the pros and cons?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Well-
it's poison. There used to be a skull and crossbones on the bottle. I'm aware. I'm making a adult choice.
Yeah.
Life is all trade-offs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This is my trade-off.
Yeah.
I don't want to. You go to bed at 8:30? I'd rather be dead.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone's laughing.
At you.
All right. No, you're not.
What?
You're gonna. What is that?
Have you never seen this show?
Yeah. But I didn't realize with me. What do you have in there curled up?
It's heroin and fentanyl.
Yeah.
No, it's fucking pot. What do you think? it's you're not going to die from being in the room with it.
Okay.
I'll try to. Does it really bother you?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It really is.
It's fine.
I mean, what are we going to lose? Like 10 minutes off your life, so you don't live to 1,000. How old do you think you can live to? What's your goal? 150? Ever? Forever?
I mean, this is the essence of what I'm doing. And this is why I think that people don't understand. Like when people see what I'm doing, they don't know what words to use or what concepts to construct. And so they just vomit. They say like Patrick Bateman, vampire, Prometheus, fuckface, billionaire. Like they
Not me. No.
You've dunked on me quite a bit.
I have?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember ever dunking on you.
Oh yeah. There was a few clips. I mean, I'm cool with it. Like I'm good. Yeah, there were a few clips where I think you jumped in on the dunking.
Oh yeah, maybe a new rule or a monologue joke or something. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a comedian. I mean, it's some funny stuff.
And
but
it's all good.
But like, if I really was against what you were doing, as opposed to actually admiring it, I hope you perfect it.
Yeah.
Go, dude.
Yeah.
Just I got to get a version where I don't go to bed at 8:30.
Yeah. So here's a thought experiment I would give you. Let's imagine we travel in time and we're hanging out with Homo erectus. That's 1 million years ago. And so the cutting edge technology at that
Not
time
in West Hollywood.
is an axe.
What?
That's their technology. The bleeding
Right.
edge technology the Homo erectus has is an axe.
1 million years ago they had that? They had an axe?
An axe.
No,
Yeah.
they did.
They did.
Not 1 million years ago.
Yeah.
That's a tool.
Right? I mean, sure, like tool something, it's technology.
Okay, but not an axe. What we think of as an axe came out in the Iron Age. We're talking many, many millennia later.
Yeah. So like a
A stone tool.
Yes.
Yes, we did have tools.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't mean to insinuate metal.
Well, you did, sir.
Yeah. Okay, a stone axe. And so let's just say you're having a conversation with them. They're struggling with language, and you pose the question to them, and you say, "Yeah, this guy. I tested this guy out. It works."
I know. I just want this one to work.
Keep on.
The Zippo lighters. I talk about it every week. I'm not going to. But go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 over here too. Yep.
Oh, I know.
4 options.
We're making sure I get high. Trust me. Go ahead. I want to know about this.
Okay.
So, but again, not an axe, a crude stone tool, but a tool.
Yeah. And so they don't really have well-formed language. Maybe they've got some ability to draw pictures on the wall, and they have some kind of primitive characteristics. And now we have some way to communicate, and we say, tell me why the future is exciting. Like, tell me what there is to live for.
Do you really even think people of that era thought in those terms as opposed to day by day?
Exactly. So like you're exactly right.
Right.
So like their mental models of reality, they could say, well, we forage, we fight, we fuck. I think they have these general concepts of reality, and then you say, like, what does the future bring? And maybe they speak about tomorrow only. Like, tomorrow is the only concept. They don't speak about years or months or years.
Right.
Right. But they have
Well, maybe the next moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even yearly, because certainly they noticed days getting shorter, which freaked them out. The reason why Christmas is December 25th is because it's modeled on the pagan holiday of the same day, which is the first day of the year that primitive people noticed the days were getting longer. So it was a big celebration.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just say like they have these primitive models of whatever they're constructing for reality.
Right.
Now, in that moment, Homo erectus is blind, of course, to concepts like atoms, the microscopic world of atoms and molecules, germs. It's blind to this concept that we have the ability to create a little white pill that you swallow, it takes care of infection. They have blindness to the ability to have technology like silicon fabrication. So they're blind to like 99.9% of our current reality.
Let's not rub it in.
Yeah.
Come on. They were cavemen. What are we bigging ourselves up saying how stupid they were? No, I take your point.
Yeah. So the legitimate question I'm proposing right now is that we, just like Homo erectus, we have models of reality. Right? You have models of reality, how long you live, how well you're going to live, what you want to do with your time. And so you have this well-constructed world that Bill has created in 68 years of time.
Right.
And so you sit down and you tell me with confidence, like, Brian, I'm not going to go to bed. Like, my life is, I would rather die before I go to bed at 8:30 because.
I see your point.
Okay, so here's the question for you.
Yeah.
On the eve of giving birth to superintelligence.
AI?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And whether you think it's going to happen in a year, 5 years, 10 years, like whatever, it's pretty soon. And it's reasonable to imagine it's probably going to change our reality beyond our ability to comprehend.
Right.
So given that, it's possible that we are as primitive as a caveman.
Yeah.
That the ideas we have of ourselves, of the world, of life, of what consciousness could be, are all idiotic.
It's certainly that way on TikTok.
Yeah.
These kids today, don't get me started. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the reality, I'm always amazed that the world is still here, that with all the stupidity, that we somehow don't blow ourselves up, and we have the weapons to do it, and the stupidity and faith and people believing in just crazy shit, and not just believing but the super is kind of doubling down.
It is,
and yet we still are here.
it is mayhem out there.
Well, yeah, civilization is just an inch deep. It's you rip off the least little, when the cops decide not to show up.
Yeah. I mean,
it's that you're
order breaks down for like 15 seconds.
Oh.
Right, I totally agree. So the question for you was are we on the eve of what could be the most extraordinary experience of conscious existence that's ever happened in this part of the galaxy? Like on a galactic scale.
That we can't know.
Well,
we can't know what they are doing out in the galactics.
Thing is, I think,
or if there is even other life.
This is the thing. I think it is worth gambling, foregoing temporary pleasure that may accelerate aging, disease, and death, so that we can have an opportunity to say, could this be the coolest thing to ever happen to intelligent life?
Yeah, I get your point. I mean, it's a better point to be made at this moment in history, because if you made it 100 years ago, I mean, we were a zillion miles. We didn't even have computers from ever reaching immortality.
Yes.
That's not really the case. Exactly. I've said jokingly before, I don't mind dying. I just don't want to be the last guy.
Yeah.
You're like, right after me, they got it.
What would you do?
And that is kind of that's one reason for your argument to say, you know what? Just cool it with the pot and the liquor.
Yeah.
And I really don't even do that much. But okay, because you know what? You're going to thank yourself in 10 years when you just bought eternity.
That's what I'm saying, Bill.
Okay. I mean, that's a bet, but I'm not going to take it. No, I'm not, because, also, Brian, look, the last thing I want you to have happen to you is get hit by a bus tomorrow. But I'm telling you, if it happens, I would take no joy in it. But
you'd also do a segment on it, though. Come on, let's be real. And Bill, I know, I give you full permission. Like, I know I'm gonna die by the most ridiculous thing possible. It is.
Really?
Yes. Like, how can that not be true?
Well, because irony.
I mean, irony always wins.
Right.
And so, how can that not be true?
You know what also always wins is not really being able to figure out what you think you might have figured out.
Yeah, I agree.
Life has that kind of way of doing
with you.
it, whatever you think. So that's why I keep smoking pot and drinking a little liquor. Because, and I admire you greatly. That I like anybody who's a pioneer, pushing the envelope, and in an area that I am intently interested in. I do not want to die. Some people do. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that. Oh, and I always say, when you're 80, trust me, you'll want to be 81. So don't fucking slough off on 80.
I think yes. So so you get this. I mean,
yeah, but not some people feel like, no. Yeah. If I'm not at my peak. And there are passive suicides, people who they don't really commit suicide, but you have to want to live.
Yeah.
If you don't, and you can kind of slowly kill yourself, and you're doing it, you just don't care. It's like, yeah, but this is my pleasure now. And, that also has to be respected. Everybody's different. Well, let's go through your routine. When you asked me before, what do I do that people think is crazy? I mean, that was one thing. Whatever I said, I forgot because I smoked pot. But another one is I ground garlic, like raw garlic, in a grinder, and make a big gob of it. And I hate garlic, and I put it get a big wad and take it like a pill.
Yeah.
So I just swallow it because I don't like it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes you really nauseous
every day
for 2 minutes. Yes, it doesn't make me nauseous every day. I know what I can eat it with, where almost never does, but people think that's weird. I jump on a trampoline every day. People think that's weird. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I've read and talked to doctors, Western, Eastern. I'll listen to anybody who I think has something to say, and it is not always from conventional medicine. That's why I'm kind of in the crosshairs of those kind of people who just, from my point of view, they're scared. There's nothing scarier than dying. So they just want to believe, like with religion, that there's this priesthood of men and women in white coats who have all the answers. and just whatever they say, just do that. Don't even ask questions.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that. I've found that out the hard way
me too.
through my own life.
Yeah.
That, and of course, it's so obvious because doctors always say themselves, get a second opinion.
Yeah.
Well, that tells me, A, it's an opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not the only one.
Come on, doc. Yeah.
So, you've got to really, in my view, be your own best advocate. And I am. One of the smartest things I ever did at a time in my life when I was not doing many smart things was from 19 on, I kept a fairly detailed log of every malady that came my way, every medication I took. That's not a normal thing.
And do you still have those logs?
Yes.
Yeah. So you've been structurally on this since teenage years.
I learned a lot of stuff along the way that I certainly didn't in that first 10 years. If you asked me in my 20s if antibiotics had any deleterious effect, I would have said, I never heard that, which to me is like basic information that antibiotics, of course, they mostly work on what they're supposed to work for, but they also have a very bad side effect. You really don't want to ever take them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right in the title, anti-life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that in my 20s. I mean, you learn everything at a certain moment of your life, and it's not all right at once when you get out of high school.
When you look back at your former self, at your 20s self, does that version of you make sense to you now? Is it still cohesive, or does it?
Oh, God. I mean, he's such an idiot and was making so many unforced errors. I've said it before on this show. As much as it would be great to be young again, I wouldn't do it if I had to be in that head again. Because I know that stupid head causes so much pain. And I don't cause myself really hardly any pain now. The only pain I'm going to get is like, at some point your body is going to probably break down unless you come up with the answer, Brian. And I certainly hope you share it with your friends now that we're friends. And I take back every bad joke I ever did. I'm going to wipe them off.
It was actually, you did a pretty good job with the jokes.
You know what? Sometimes you just got to go where the joke is. Unless it's actually something that I really don't do. I throw away lots of good material that I'm sorry, I don't believe in the premise. I don't believe that.
I mean, there was, when I started doing this, I started sharing it, but I never in my wildest imagination imagined it would trigger this tsunami of hate. Like that was not in my mental model. And so when I saw these patterns emerge of how people do it, there would be very common takes. But I really learned to appreciate those with a really fine sense of humor, that they could find these lines that no one else could. Everyone else took the very obvious ones, which was kind of like real lowbrow. But I really appreciated, like, South Park, right? Like they really craft this.
It's a compliment. That you rose to this level.
100%. I really.
Absolutely.
So like, so you
it's
really.
an accomplishment.
You did. You carved out some really nice spots. So I thought that's.
Yeah, I don't think I would. But as to your first point about being surprised, come on, man. This America, we're haters. And it says a lot about the psyche of this country, which would be better if they were healthier.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
That, of course, no matter what you do, no matter how pure, no matter how rightly intended, no matter how much it doesn't hurt anybody else, it's all just fodder for the people who live on their phone, who live on the internet, who live to just shit on everything anybody else does, just because that's something they would never do in person.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It really is. The psyche of America, or at least so much of it, is very sad. That's, to me, a huge indication of it.
Yeah.
That we're going to shit. I mean, why? How's it hurt you if this guy wants to try to push the envelope on longevity? If you could live longer and be healthy, wouldn't you?
So sometimes I even lose my own place in this. There was someone who posted this yesterday on social media. He wrote this well thought out, reasonable critique of what I'm doing. Like he wrote down data and science and like, this is like this and that, like, but a very thoughtful and kind assessment, but accurate. And the contrast just reminded me of the viciousness that I see every day. I just lose track that I just forget sometimes, like, it is absolute warfare.
That's why I drink. Why I drink, Brian, and smoke and sniff glue and occasionally take fentanyl with ketamine. That's
Ketamine was shown to slow the speed of aging. That was one of the.
so is heroin.
Heroin does?
Oh my God! Do you ever know a heroin addict? They look fantastic until they die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely.
I've never seen data.
Kind of preserves you.
Interesting. I've never seen data on heroin. But ketamine, yeah, it was one of the highlights that it actually had data showing that it slowed the speed of aging.
All right. Well, Brian, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm very interested in your erections. I've read a lot about your erections.
I'm flattered. Bill.
And I really don't think that should happen. But no, is this, it's funny, one time I used to smoke for 20 years, which was the stupidest thing I ever did, talking about how stupid you were back in the 20s. But I remember always trying to quit. And I went to the dentist once, and he was really this one. I only wonder why he's a real asshole, but he scared me. And he was saying, when you smoke, you're gonna get cancer in your gums, and you know that it affects your penis, the blood flow to your penis. I quit the next day.
Yeah.
I went back, but it's like it's like it took that the shot. What? Threw it right in the garbage.
That's why I talk about erections.